Yeah, we're live.
All right. Welcome to the Edamame Anime Club, where we risk our lives against the elements to just get a side hug. I am joined by my co-host Alexander,
Good to be here.
and I'm Steve. I should have said that first, but it's fine.
There was a little more than a side hug, though. It was just a little more.
It was a little more than a side hug. I don't know, man. It looked like a side hug that he snuck in there because it was the last moment. We don't want to give out too many spoilers, but what anime are we doing today?
Today we are going to be doing Princess Mononoke, pretty critically acclaimed Studio Ghibli film. Anyone who knows Studio Ghibli knows Princess Mononoke. Me and Steve actually have not seen this movie. We just finished watching it, so we're here to talk about
fresh, so
Yeah.
This is my first ever Tokyo Ghibli movie ever.
Studio Ghibli.
Studio Ghibli. I keep saying Tokyo Ghibli. Studio Ghibli. It's my first one I've ever seen. I have not seen any other ones. I just seen clips about it, and a lot of people talk them up, and I was just like, this sounds good. But really, they are, what they are. They're pretty good. They're not just good anime. It's like, I mean, there's some that you even mentioned it about your grandmother.
Yeah. So my first Studio Ghibli movie was Spirited Away. And my grandma showed it to me like 10 years ago. So if like my grandma doesn't even watch TV, period. So the fact that she would even watch an anime movie is kind of blew my mind. And then she asked me to watch it with her. Like I didn't ask her to watch it with me, and she was like, "Yeah, that was a great movie." No, she came and asked me to watch it with her. Yeah. So yeah, Studio Ghibli is very
it's well known,
very renowned. Yes.
So quick synopsis. So Princess Mononoke. I'm saying right.
Mononoke.
That sounds better. Princess Mononoke is set in the Muromachi period.
Is that what it was?
Yeah, in Muromachi period, 1350s to 1500s, middle 1500s, with fantasy elements to it.
Mm-hmm.
And it follows a young Ashitaka. Ashitaka follows a young Ashitaka as his involvement with all the elements and not just the people, not just the elements of the forest, the god of forest, but also his involvement with the people that are taking the resources from that forest.
Mm-hmm.
And really it's just about him going through that. And there were so many different it was really hard to spot the villain.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It was really hard to spot who was in the right and who was in the wrong. And we'll get into that as we go along. But do you have any background information on this? A little more when it was dropped, years?
It came out in 1997. I know that. So, for, what is it, 25 years now? Am I doing the math right? 25, 26 years?
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, we're not mathematicians here. We're anime lovers. Get out of here with that math.
Yeah. I mean, you could kind of tell the animation looks a little dated, but I wouldn't have guessed it was pre-2000s. I would have guessed like 2010 or so. Very, very well done. I like the animation. I like that you could tell that it was hand-drawn. To me, that was a perk of it.
Yeah, and it really was like, it still holds up pretty good. It's still very, I don't want to say, like it's still, if that came out in 2020, well, let's say 2019, pre-COVID.
Pre-COVID, okay.
Yeah, it would still paint a really nice picture.
Yeah, for sure.
So, so it was made by Studio Ghibli, 1997.
1997.
A good year. I was, what was I? I was 5.
I was 8 years old, yeah.
Yeah, you're 3 years older than me. You're an old man.
Yeah. But yeah, other than that, I mean, I guess Hayao Miyazaki was the director, animated by Studio Ghibli, which you already said, and aired on Japanese television network. So
there you go. Yeah. And I do think that I didn't hear about Studio Ghibli till maybe like 10 years ago. And it was My Neighbor Totoro. Oh. Yeah, that was the first one I ever heard of. And I never got the reference. And then Spirited Away, of course, which that was going to be the one we were going to watch. And then we opted out of it. Yeah. You told me. And I'll let you pick it because I've never seen any. And you said you've never seen this one.
Yeah, so. Well, I've seen, like I said, I saw Spirited Away, but it's been like 12 years since I've seen that. Here's an interesting fact that I didn't know, reading about it online, is it's the first PG-13 film that Studio Ghibli released.
What's the other ones? Were they all PG?
Yeah, I assume they're all PG. Released in the United States to be rated PG-13. So It was also the highest grossing film in Japan of 1997. So highest grossing. So it was basically the best film released period in Japan,
Yeah,
which is actually saying a lot. You know?
yeah. I mean, honestly, let's just be honest. The '90s were the time for film. Like there was a lot of these coming out during the '90s. All right. Well, so let's go ahead and jump into our personal reviews. And I always, the way I do it, I always put it in perspective. Like, what could they have done better?
Mhm.
And then we'll talk about that. No spoiler alerts right now. This is the no spoiler section. But like, we'll talk about that, what it could have done better, and we'll talk about that throughout the episode. But I'm gonna give this a 4 edamame, and I have two major reasons why.
So 4 out of 5, right?
Yeah, so 4 out of 5
right.
edamames for me.
Okay. Do you want me to go into my review?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go ahead and give it a 4.5 out of 5 edamame. It was hard for me to think of reasons. Like I literally watched it and it was hard for me to think of anything I didn't like about it. I guess I wish they would have fleshed out the characters more, but it was already a 2 hour long movie, so should they have spent more time on that? The characters felt a little one dimensional, I guess. So I wanted them to feel more fleshed out. Like they don't really make hard choices. They're just kind of stagnant in the way they want to be.
Yeah, and I think they did that deliberately. I think that was a deliberate thing. Is they were up until, I can't give away any spoilers, but they were just one dimensional throughout. They had their route that they wanted to take, and they just followed it, and they didn't change their trajectory. You know, they kept going. I didn't like the ending.
The ending, I kind of liked the weird open endedness of it, but not it didn't resolve anything, I guess. But I kind of liked it. I don't know. I personally liked the ending.
I did not, and I'll talk about that when we get in the part. But that was a big one. There was a lot of conflict.
Yes, there was a lot of conflict.
Too much conflict for me, and you know the three big conflicts, right? It's like person versus person versus nature, and then persons versus themselves.
Yeah,
right?
or nature versus itself. It also threw that in there too.
Yeah, I mean that was. But see, the idea is that that's too much.
Yeah,
too much, and I'm okay with the conflicts as they're building, and we'll cover that when we get in the episode. But it was just too much for me, and there's like a point where I was like, whose side are we fighting for? So that I like that, but I also didn't like
there's no clear cut good guy and bad guy.
Yeah,
I mean there sort of is, because the main character is obviously supposed to be the good guy.
Yeah, right, but we could think of him as a neutral party.
Yeah, you could. Yes,
he's definitely a neutral party. All right. Well, let's get it. What are the reviews before we get in these episodes?
All right. Before I get in the reviews, I'm gonna open my Modelo.
Oh, I already opened up my Heineken. All right. Cheers, mate. Kampai.
Cheers, kampai. All right, let's go ahead and get into some reviews. These are gonna be IMDb reviews. I'm gonna start off with the 1 out of 10, then I'm gonna read a 5 out of 10, and then a 10 out of 10. A little mix in there.
Yeah, I like it.
All right, so this is going to be the 1 out of 10 review written by Minumero. He says, there is absolutely nothing special about this movie. How this made it to number 71 out of the top 250 is beyond me. I don't have anything against any kind of animation. I don't dislike Japan. I don't dislike any of the voiceovers. I don't think I have ever heard of it until I saw it in the top 250 list the other day. I thought it was going to be mind-blowing given all its accolades and ratings. In the great words of Ron White, I was wrong. It was the most pathetically average thing ever. Boring story, way too long, average animation. It has all the stereotypical characters one would expect to find in a much older American cartoon making fun of Japanese stories, right down to the Japanese Sambo. Completely predictable, not something you'd want your kids to see, and something your adult friends would scoff at. Do not waste your time. A 30-minute Family Guy remake would put this to shame.
That's pretty good. I mean, he said some good stuff. I don't have kids, neither do you. So I don't know how I would feel like showing this to, a child.
It was much more graphic than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah,
it was very graphic.
Yeah, agreed. Is that why you got the chelada? Because we were going to do this.
Blood red. Yeah.
You got blood red. Like the picture of it is San.
San, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Her face is covered in blood.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No, I didn't think about that. I mean, I don't agree with him, but he didn't make some very solid points.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll be honest. I'm thinking that anyone that rates it slow would be a little pretentious about it, but I think it might have gone over people's heads.
Yeah, I could see that.
There's a lot of heavy themes, and we'll get in that.
Yeah.
All right, what's the better one?
All right, here's a 5 out of 10.
Someone that's dick riding it.
This one is written by Matrix FN. Not all it's cracked up to be. Go and see this movie. You won't be disappointed. I was very disappointed. While certainly a well-animated and relatively unique picture, Mononoke Hime is far from a great picture. It suffers from two major problems: corny dialogue and pointless elements. While the first might be due to poor translation, the second is surely not. Ideas are introduced but not developed several times. Other apparent plot elements disappear without explanation, never to return again. Yes, there are much better animated pictures out there. Ants, for example, has many significant advantages over Mononoke.
Ants. Ants is ass, bro.
I don't know. I like the ants.
No, Bugs Life was the one everyone liked. Ants was the one.
No, Ants is the one where they fight the termites, right? Like they go to war against the termites.
I don't know who they go to war against, but I know it wasn't as good as Bugs Life. I'm sure everyone agrees with me on that.
Yeah, but we're getting kind of sidetracked.
Was that the 5-star one?
That was a 5-star. Yeah.
Why would he give it 5 stars? It sounded like he shouldn't have.
Yeah.
Did he not know how the star system works? Did he think it was out of 10 or something? What the fuck? Well, all right. So I guess take it. I will recommend this to everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely a movie I recommend to everyone.
I would recommend it.
Yeah.
I guess he is right about the plot points that are expanded on. That did happen a few times.
Yeah, there's a couple ones we can look into. But there's what was the other one he said? He said it was the plot points, and there was one, the dialogue.
Corny dialogue.
Yeah. I didn't catch that too much.
To me, it sounds like he watched the dubbed version, and so he said, so maybe it might be corny dialogue to hear in English.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of good voice actors. Billy Bob Thornton was in it. Who else? Saying Amy Smart? You say Amy Smart?
I'd have to look again.
But yeah, I mean, I've heard that a lot of the Studio Ghibli has a lot of actual well-known actors like Joseph Gordon-Levitt. I think Kristen Stewart was in it.
Let's see, Billy Bob Thornton was in there. Keith David, I'm not too sure who he is, but Gillian Anderson voiced one of the wolves, and she's the girl from X-Files. I don't know if you know who she is. Yeah, the redhead from X-Files.
Well, all right. Well, that's you heard it here, guys. So our reviews are pretty solid. If you agree with us, comment down. This is the part of the episode where you probably want to shut us down and go watch the entire movie. How long was the movie?
2 hours and 12 minutes, 15 minutes.
2 hours and 12 minutes.
Yeah.
We watched it off of HBO Max with commercials, with ads. With ads. You can also get it on Prime if you'd like it.
Yeah, you got to pay for it on Prime, though.
Yeah, you got to pay for it.
I missed the 10 out of 10 review. I don't know if you want to hear that or no.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I'm confused. I think you're on IMDb. I think they based it out of 5.
No,
we do that.
No, yeah, we based it off of 5. His was completely average, 5 out of 10. The one that says not cracked up to be, yeah. So
I was thinking 5 out of 10. Okay, good. Yeah. There was confusion there.
So here's the 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
A true work of art that takes animation to an entirely new level. I saw Mononoke Hime on its USA release back in late December 1999 under its US title, Princess Mononoke. I had read quite a bit about this film and its director, but was still totally overwhelmed by its beauty and brutality of this movie. The complexity of this movie is something never seen in the United States in an animated movie, and even exceeds that of most live action movies as well. It combines love and hate, war and romance, nobility and deception in ways rarely seen in movies today. Lines of good and evil are anything but clear cut, and in the end, hope. And the end is hope, but no guarantees, no promises. This is truly an adult movie, but my children ages 12 to 15 all loved it and talked about it for many days. Even my wife, who holds a strong prejudice against Japanese animation, enjoyed this movie. So
that was actually a spot-on review.
Yeah.
I agreed 100%. I mean, I wouldn't give it a 10 out of 10. Again, it's going to be hard for me to ever throw out a perfect score. And, and even my favorite anime won't get a perfect score that I love. I'm waiting on one. I know it's out there, and I'm always going to be fishing for it. But I feel like once I give it the best review ever, where do we go from there, right?
Yeah.
There's nowhere to go up, and I think there's always small measures of improvement. But yeah, it's spot on.
Yeah. And like I said, I gave it a 4 out of 5. Like while watching it, it was hard for me to think of anything. Like I had to retroactively think about it. Like there's nothing that was standing out to me as I was watching it. Like, man, this part sucks of it, or I didn't like that, or anything like that. Like it was totally enjoyable for me. It didn't feel like a 2-hour long movie, except for the ads on my paid streaming service. That broke the immersion a little bit, but Yeah.
So hurt. We had to watch that.
Yeah.
Well, all right. Now,
Now we're done. Yeah.
now we're gonna jump into the episode. So go ahead and pause this. Go watch the movie. Come back, and let's just jump into it.
Yeah.
So we first start off with our very first introduction. Now he's a prince, right?
Yeah, he's a prince.
He's
yeah.
a prince. Prince Ashitaka.
Ashitaki.
Yeah, Prince Ashitaki. It starts off with like a rumble in the forest, and then we get this very first monster. They call them the devils, demons.
There's a demon, yeah.
Demon monsters. And well, actually, let me specify. They call them demons.
Mm-hmm.
We'll cover the monster story a little bit later because they do hint back to the monsters, but the demons coming in, and he's just covered in. I just thought it was like an infestation.
Yeah, it looked like worms. I think.
It was like worms.
Yeah,
and coming after the village that he lives in.
Yeah, and it was just causing like complete devastation, like destroying all plant life that it's touching. Like everything's dying around it as it's coming towards it. Very very menacing.
Yeah, and so it starts off with some good action.
Yeah,
and we got our hero. He's running. He's on a horse. He's trying to protect people. He shoots the and it's a boar the whole time. It's a boar.
Yeah, it's a boar covered but it's like it looks like a spider in certain points because it's covered in like the worms or whatever. Like it's literally walking. It looks like a spider.
Yeah. Okay, so we have this boar that looks like a spider that's covered in these worms,
yeah.
and it's like terraforming
Mm-hmm.
as it's killing everything, and it really is a good scene just to start it off. And he's just protecting his village, and he gets infected in the arm.
Yeah, like he shoots the thing in its eye, protecting some of his his village compatriots or whatever. Like
1 second, everyone. Charles decided to yawn.
He's fine. But yeah, so he shoots it in the eye, and that's what makes it to save his village, and then it goes and like latches onto his arm with like one of his tentacles.
Yeah, and then that's when we really get into the meat and potatoes of this episode. Really. Yeah, it really starts off with. I mean, I do like the way it introduces the Oracle, which is just like they're not mad. Like they're not mad at the animal.
Yeah.
Which was because it's attacking them. They're not mad at it. They're not angry at it.
Yeah.
When they go, she basically says a prayer to the animal.
Yeah, she like asks it for forgiveness, saying that it hopes that it's not going to have like a grudge, and then they're going to build like a mound and like worship it and like celebrate it afterwards. And then he's all like, "I'll never forgive you. I'm going to kill every single one of you. Like my hate runs deep." And then that's that.
Yeah, and that was really, and then we jumped right into it.
Yeah.
And that's when he goes and talks to the Oracle, and the Oracle gives him the journey that he's on to travel out and to find a cure. And that's really it. After that, he doesn't ever see the village again.
Yeah.
And including his little love interest, whose name slips me, but she's not important. Don't even look her up.
Don't even look her up.
And she gives him this dagger.
It's like a jeweled dagger, like as a necklace, like it's wrapped in string, and she's like I'll never forget you, and the dude's like, I won't, and like takes it and never mention her ever again.
She never came. As soon as he got it, he forgot her name, forgot everything about her, just went into but see, this is one of those plot points thing.
Yeah.
And we'll I guess it did come back later, the dagger, but not in the way I expected.
Yeah, not in the way you expected at all.
It did not come back in the way we expected it. So now he's on this journey, and then we really get to start getting into zero characters, but now we get to introduce to what's really happening during this period.
Yeah. Well, he's like traveling, like the Oracle basically just gives him like, you need to travel west to find where the boar came from, and then only then can you cure your curse, because his arm is like cursed or whatever. And so he's basically like traveling, and he one of the interesting things that I thought was kind of cool is like it kind of gives you like an insight to his curse, is like he's like traveling the countryside and sees like a village being like pillaged by samurais, and he's like not even trying to fight, but like he gets embroiled into the battle, and like his arm starts hurting as he's like running, but then he decides to shoot him with his arrows, right?
Well, they're shooting first.
Yeah, they shot him first. He didn't go into looking for a fight. Like he's just trying to go by. And then and he's like becomes like super powered, like he's like barely dodging arrows and stuff, and then he shoots his bow and it's like cutting people in half and like
he's cutting like limbs off.
Yeah.
Taking whole heads off.
Yeah.
Get out of here, Charles.
Yeah. That's kind of when I was like, whoa, this is PG-13. This is a kids movie. Yeah.
That's when I was debating whether it was PG-13. But that's the first time I was thinking, like, because you said it was PG-13, I was like, oh, what's that like?
Yeah.
And I didn't think it was that was pretty dark, And So then we get that, and he's
even like the samurais are like killing villagers, like stabbing them as they're like falling down and stuff. It's like, whoa, this is kind of dark.
oh yeah, and and those samurais it expanded on there too. So we see this internal conflict right now with or this conflict with I guess farmers, right? There were farmers and samurais. Yeah. So we see that already happening. That's the very first conflict, and I'll be naming them as we go along. Yeah. So did you see how many themes were in this? Like what like a big theme, and I wanted you to catch it. I'm sure you already caught it, but like it was like progressiveness and environmentalists.
Yeah, it was like kind of like reaching towards the future. Like humans progressing into technologically advancement, while in contrast with nature, because they're cutting down the forests and stuff.
Yeah, and that's where we get, because now he arrives at this iron forest.
Yeah,
where he is after saving two people's lives that were in the battle. And at this point, I actually think these are the bad guys.
Yeah.
I think these are the bad guys. Turns out they're not. But that's when we get, because they were attacked, and that's where we introduce San, right?
Yeah, Princess Mononoke. Yeah,
Mononoke.
She's got she rides on a wolf. She's got 3 wolves with her.
Yeah.
And the wolves are like terrorizing the people of the forge.
Yeah. And they're just taking them down.
And the people of the forge actually are the ones that are technologically advanced, because they all have like rifles and like mortar and grenades and stuff like that.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's where we really get into it.
Yeah.
It's like they have these advanced weaponry. And Charles, will you quit it? Get your head out of the frame.
You're blocking a very important part.
You're blocking zero.
Review. Yeah.
What are you even looking at? He's looking at the Deadpool poster. No, Deadpool. He's the Death Note poster. Charles.
Just gotta ignore him. He's not that much in the way.
So we get this. We get the introduction of her, and and she's kind of a badass.
Yeah,
she's kind of a badass. And then we find he finally makes his way to this iron fortress where the women work in the iron mill.
Yeah.
Making iron, I guess, everything iron. Pellets.
Yeah. It looks like they're selling the iron, and then they're also using the iron to forge the guns.
Yeah, so they're already doing that. That's happening right now, and I do think it fits in with the period pretty well. I think that's what they're. Yeah. I think that's how we're classifying it as the Muromachi period.
Yeah, I was thinking Edo period, but I don't really know exactly the periods of Japan.
I think Edo period ends right before this period because because that's whenever it gets technological.
Yeah.
So we get into this he shows up now with these two. He saves them. They don't want him there at first, and then they welcome him with open arms. Apparently, Prince Ashitaka is a lady killer.
Oh yeah, all the ladies love him.
He's a lady killer. Yeah, they love him. He's a lady killer. He's all good with all the girls. They think he's cute. All of that. And but see, he finds the person who is the one that created this infested boar.
Oh yes. So the infested boar that cursed him. One of the things we missed is that he takes like an iron ball out of its stomach after it dies and its corpse dissolves away. He has like the iron ball or whatever, and he realizes that as this her name's Lady Eboshi.
Yeah, Ibashi.
Yeah, Lady Eboshi. So she's like the head of the foundry, the head of the forge, this castle that's forging all the guns, and. As she's talking to him, she's telling him the story about how they fought off a bunch of boars and they ran away. So he realizes that she is the one who shot the boar that made him become cursed, and then the boar came to his village to attack and then cursed him on his arm. Yeah. So he's got like this. You almost think that he's gonna take like revenge, like that's what he's looking for. And actually, like doesn't like the curse like want him to, like he like has to restrain himself from like killing her on the spot.
Yeah, it reaches for a sword.
Yeah.
But also like he's not mad that that happened. He's mad that she killed the boar.
Yeah.
And like did it in this way. And like she wasn't honoring the forest.
Yeah.
He wasn't mad it didn't really.
Yeah, no, he wasn't mad.
He wasn't like I want to kill her because she ruined my arm.
Yeah.
But like it looked like it was upset that she turned this boar by killing it in this weird, I guess inhumane. I mean, it's humane technically.
Yeah, I mean he shot it and it was like buried in his intestines, causing him pain.
Yeah.
So that's like what made him turn into a demon, like gave him the hatred, I guess.
Yeah, and that was very it was interesting with that.
Yeah, that was a good plot point.
Yeah, and then this is where we also now. This is to me one of the better scenes of the entire movie is the attack on the Iron Fortress from Princess Mononoke.
Yeah.
She shows up like a stallion on these wolves. They shoot her up in the air over the walls.
Yeah.
She comes in. She runs weird. She has this weird like it's technically the god deer.
Yeah.
The god.
Her mask is of the god deer. Yeah. But yeah, she's like kind of all ninjaed up, just like jumping from building to building, like
being a badass.
Yeah, dodging people left and right, like fighting off multiple people. Yeah, being a badass. Yeah. But the only reason she's there is because she wants to kill Lady Eboshi, the head of the foundry.
Yeah, she wants to kill her. She wants to kill her. And they talk about that, right? That it was because they killed her parents, right? Or because like they went into the forest more. Basically, she wants to kill her because she's destroying the forest.
Yeah, she's destroying the forest. Yeah. And it didn't really explain it too much, how she's connected to the wolves. I know that like technically she's like the daughter or they adopt her somehow. Yeah. But it very, very just glances that over.
Yeah, it doesn't really paint like a good picture of it, but they love her like a daughter, and that's what that happens. But then we get this nice, just cool fight sequence with her and Lady Eboshi,
Lady
Eboshi, and even I'm gonna debauch all Ashitaka. You know, you get to see him become a badass, and then he takes her. So here's where he gets this ambivalence. He's trying to like play both sides.
Yeah, he definitely is. Yeah,
and he carries her out, but he doesn't harm either one of them.
Yeah, well, basically Lady Eboshi, they trap Princess Mononoke, right? And they basically goad her out into fighting her. So like she's running down and begins the fighting with Lady Eboshi. Like it's a pretty sweet fight scene. Like there's a huge circle around. Like it reminds me of like Fight Club or something.
Yeah, it was really good.
Yeah. And so Ashitaki like sees them fighting, and I guess he goes like, I don't even know if he becomes like super powered. Like he is super powered because of his like demon curse or whatever. But like he like walks over there and like stops both them fighting. Like he like blocks Lady Eboshi's sword and then grabs Princess Mononoke by the arm. And like neither of them can move. And like basically stops the fight. And this is where you're right. He's like playing both sides. He's like saying like, I don't want either of you guys to fight. Yeah. Like, you know, let her go and you stay here. Yeah. And then he ends up knocking out Lady Eboshi. And then what happens to Princess Mononoke? Does it knock her out as well?
Yeah, he knocks her out.
Okay, so he knocks them both out.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then he carries one off, and then instead of like letting one of them die, like he protects Princess Mononoke, and he lets the Lady Eboshi.
Mm-hmm.
he lets her live and there's no fighting, and all the people in there don't like that because they think he's on Princess Mononoke's side, but really he's trying to just find a cure.
Yeah,
he's trying to find a cure, and the only way to find this cure is to I think he finds that like right around this period or this era. He's trying to find the deer god, who is the protector. There's more to it than that.
Yeah, in the beginning, in the beginning, it just seems like he's the protector of the forest, like the spirit of the forest or whatever. Yeah,
but apparently, he's the god of life and death. So, and we'll talk about that towards like what happens with him. Yeah. But now he's been taken. He's gotten shot by one of the villagers.
He gets shot as he's carrying Princess Mononoke out of the foundry. Yeah.
And he even stops the wolves from coming in too.
Yeah.
He's like, stop! I have her. She's safe. And they carry her off, and then so what you were telling me, there's no comic relief. Yeah,
zero comedic relief.
There's no comedic relief here, and that's whenever there's just these like serious moments that were really funny.
Yeah,
and this is like the one of them is where he got shot, loses blood, and he falls off of his.
Yeah, he's like riding his like elk or whatever, with Princess Mononoke off of it, and he's like losing blood, and he's like passes out and falls off with a deer or whatever. And the wolf like sees him and like literally runs over there and starts like biting his head, like trying to
gnawing at it, like immediately.
He's like mauling him,
immediately. So we get all these conflicts happening, and then we get introduced to this very next conflict because at this moment we're thinking, samurai versus the villagers. That's one, and then we're thinking the ironworkers versus like the elements or the environment,
nature versus the ironworkers. So that's two conflicts right there. Yeah,
it's already two conflicts, and then we get this very odd one because you think nature. The forest is all working together as one, but there seems to be factions, and this is where we get to meet the apes. Who the apes in this forest are just known for planting trees, but apparently they're kind of assholes.
Yeah.
So they're throwing rocks at these wolves, and they're just like, let us have the boy. We want to eat him.
Yeah.
And that's they're kind of assholes.
And they're like, we want to eat him to gain his power so we can kill the humans. So like they still want to kill the humans, right? Yeah. But then they're like, they're like the ones that plant trees. Also, the way they're animated, they look evil, right? Like most of the animals actually kind of look evil
All
in
their
this.
eyes are dark. Yeah. So we get this scene where the wolves and the gorilla apes. Yeah, they're arguing. They don't like each other.
Yeah.
They don't like each other, and it's funny.
Yeah.
To me, it's like they should be working. So we get this conflict. There's another animal, or I guess nature versus nature conflict later on, but we get this conflict now. So that's already 3 conflicts. Already 3 conflicts, and this is what I'm saying. It gets kind of weird. And now he's getting taken away, and he's losing a lot of blood, and this is where we get to finally meet the god deer. The god deer.
Yeah.
The deer god, right?
I don't think he has a name. He's just the deer god. Yeah.
Yeah, and this is where we get to meet the deer god, and he heals the main character Akatashi, and
it's Princess Mononoke that basically helps him, right? Like the wolves were like fine with like leaving him to be dead.
Yeah, like fuck him, like let's just eat him. Like they just didn't like him, and they they have very good reason why. They hate all humans. Yes. So now we dive into this whole, the deer god protected him.
Brings him back to life, essentially, right? Like he comes down off of the top of the mountain. No, he's like a walking giant spirit, and then he like forms into a deer or something. A creepy deer.
Creepy fucking deer.
Yeah. For being like the god of the forest or whatever, he looks
hella creepy.
Yeah.
So now that he has been healed, and now he's kind of he's trying to get. He's healed, and he still wants to get cured. His hand didn't get cured.
Yeah.
His wound got cured.
Yeah. This is also the beginning of the kind of like the romance between her and or Akatashi and Princess Mononoke.
Oh, you're referring to the feeding of like the bird feeding.
Yes,
She fed him like a bird.
That's what I was saying. It was more than a side hug.
That bird feeding was for nutrition. That side hug was for love.
Yeah. There's like a scene like he's like still weak after being come back alive, and then like she's like tears off a piece of beef jerky for him to eat, and he like doesn't have the strength to do it, so she like chews it up and feeds him like a bird. Yeah,
and
a sign of true love. That's
I mean, I guess that's kind of
that's going to be relationship goals for me one day.
Yeah, definitely romantic. Good for him, lady killer. Even the Princess Mononoke wants to take at him. So after this, I mean, now we're getting to kind of we start seeing the background characters.
Yeah.
And one of the characters that he met along his journey was a merchant.
Yeah, I think he was like a priest. I don't know. He's just someone who like knows a lot. I don't know.
Yeah.
He's like
he pretends to be his friend.
Yeah.
What's his name? I see it right there. What's his name?
Jacobo.
Yeah. He pretends to be his friend early on, helps him out, saves him from bandits, basically warning him of them. Yeah. And he just seems evil, right? And then he's not.
Yeah, he feeds them and also helps them like barter and stuff like that.
Yeah. Then he's not evil.
Yeah.
And then he is.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say he's necessarily evil.
And we were talking about this. Like he's not really evil. He just has his own goals that he's trying to accomplish. Like he's not necessarily malicious. Like he's given like orders from the emperor, and you find out that he wants like the emperor wants the deer god's head, and so he's like actually like a expert hunter, and so he's like basically recruiting all these mercenaries to go out into the forest to go kill the deer god, right?
Yeah. And that was a very I did not expect that. I thought he was done with his role.
Yeah, me too.
I didn't think he was gonna come back. I kind of figured maybe he would, but then I was like, no, that was it. He just was warning about them.
I guess he is kind of evil because he was like he didn't really double cross anybody, but he was playing people.
He was plotting on people.
Yeah.
And we get to see this like conniving nature from him.
Yeah.
And he was like. He was conniving. I mean, he tricked almost all the sides into getting the head, and really at the end he got what he wanted, and then he changed his mind, which is one of the reasons about getting.
Yeah, I mean, I guess he didn't get his retribution at the end. He's like, you would expect that he would have been one of the characters to not make it to the end, but he does.
Yeah. So now we get the backstory of what's happening.
Yeah.
And he's been like, I guess, assigned to like, he's been gifted by the emperor, like the 20 best sharpshooters, and hunters and trackers, and they're all there to go and hunt this the god deer.
Yeah, and then he convinces Lady Eboshi to like use her soldiers as well. Like they're all gonna go into the forest and fight. Like,
just the men.
Yeah, only the men though.
Yeah, most of the men. There's some men that stay behind, but most of the men go with him.
Yeah.
And this is where we were. I mean, we're unclear. So now we're gonna get in this giant battle with the boars.
Yeah, it's like this. It's basically the final battle. So like, I guess the same clan of the boar that cursed Akatashi is coming back from the forest west to go attack the foundry. Right, like they know they're ruining the forest. They have no hope, kind of thing. They're gonna do like one last like hurrah. Even the wolves are like, and this is another thing you were talking about. Like the wolves and the boars like aren't really on each other's side.
Yeah,
like,
they're aware of each other.
Yeah,
they're aware they have the same goal.
Yeah,
but they do not want to fight. Like the boars don't want to fight with the wolves.
Yeah,
for whatever reason.
Yeah,
even though they do.
Yeah,
even though they do fight together later on, but and then even after that, the wolves are even not just the wolves, but Princess Mononoke.
Yeah.
She's basically protecting like the elder boar, the leader of the boars, to like get saved. And now we see that happening.
Yeah.
And while this is happening, what's happening at the Iron Fortress?
Yeah, and also one thing that they mentioned is I think he convinces Lady Eboshi to use her army because he's like tracking the deer god to find out where he is, right? And he sees the boars and he runs to the forge and like basically convinces them all to go out to like help him. Like I don't know if it's like mutual, like we'll help you fight the boars, then you help us like hunt the deer god or what, because there's like the hunters and trappers are part of the final battle. Like there's the whole fight with the boars happens, right? Yeah,
it's ambiguous at this point because we don't even know like if they pulled the men away from the Iron Fortress so they could the women that are left there could fend themselves, because that's when they get attacked by the samurais.
So as this battle is like happening, Akatashi's like how does it happen? I know like Princess Mononoke and the wolves go off. And what is he doing? He's just like going back to the forge, right?
Well, they kick him out.
Yeah, they basically kick him out.
Yeah, the wolves basically said, "Get the hell out of here."
Yeah, your life was saved or whatever. And then important plot point that we missed. He remember that jeweled dagger that
I was gonna get to that.
Kaya gave him. He's like, oh yeah, give this to Princess Mononoke like as a gift, right? And then,
Kaya was the one we didn't say her name. Remember?
Yeah, you were like, let's forget her.
Yeah, fuck her. Yeah, Kaya gave it to her in the beginning, and as he's been saved by Princess Mononoke, he returns the favor. They go back and forth, and he basically gets talking to her father wolf, and he says, "In the morning, get the hell out of here. I don't want to see you." Good morning, and they lead him out, and he gives that jeweled dagger or jeweled blade, whatever it is, to one of the wolves to take to Princess Mononoke, and that ends.
Yeah, that ends that plot point. Like
which you would think like she would use it for something.
Yeah.
Nope, she puts it on as a necklace. Never addresses it ever again. I don't ever think it ever came up again.
She like goes to stab him at the end with it, and then can't, and then.
Oh yeah, there is that. Yeah. So what the thing? We're getting around the place. We're gonna clean it up right now with everything, all the battles happening. Yeah, she does rip it off her neck to try to kill
Akatashi.
No, the lady.
Lady Eboshi. Okay.
She tried to kill her because she was trying to kill the deer god, and she succeeded. Yeah. She basically shot his head off clean. Yeah. Took the head, threw it to that freaking mercenary merchant. Yeah. And he put it in like a little vault, and they took off running with it. Yeah. And while she did that, she was attacked by one of the wolf's head to be exact, and took off on his arms. And they try to save her, but not Princess Mononoke. She does not want to. Rips off the dagger. Tries to kill her. Yeah. And again, these two, I don't know about Lady Eboshi, but I know Princess Mononoke does not like her. Yeah, for sure. So he separates them. He says, "No, we can't do this." Goes into whole spill why. She says, again, you can probably, if you watch this with the drink game, take a shot every time they ask him what side he's on. Oh yeah, they ask him that all the time because he's a neutral party at all this. Everyone thinks he's fighting for the other side. Like the people from the castle think, or the foundry, or whatever, think he's working with the nature, and the people from the nature think he's like, you're just a human, like you can't be helping us. Like, yeah, exactly. Yeah, and that's that was important because he is a neutral party. Yeah, he never picks a side. He never actually makes a villain. And I'm trying to think if he even kills anyone. Yeah, he kills people. But like him, not the hand doing it. Like Did he like actually kill anyone?
His motivation is explained in the Lady Eboshi and Princess Mononoke fight when he stops them both and he's like telling you like this is the culmination of my curse. Like this is why my curse is happening to me because y'all two are fighting each other, and it's like the Princess Mononoke representing nature and Lady Eboshi representing human expansion and harvesting of the forest. He's saying like this hatred needs to stop because this is what's creating the curse. Like technically that's his side is like, oh, why can't we just all get along?
Yeah, and that's actually a heavy theme they touched on. Not just them, but like feminism was a big female empowerment was a big push in this as well.
I guess I could see it
because the females that were in the iron fortress, they worked in the iron mill.
Yeah,
and no, they were just badasses.
Yeah, they were really redeemed. Like like everyone looked up to them. They did the hard work. They were the ones that were like in the forge, like you're saying. And then they're like fighting at the end too. They're holding off. They're defending the castle. I don't know if we touched on that, right? Like, so like the castle's getting attacked by other humans while the big battle between the boars and the wolves are going off in the forest. There's like two main battles going on.
Yeah, that's what I was leading into with the female empowerment because they are holding down the fortress.
Yes.
They are holding it down. And we also get to see disability because because as much as what you would think about Lady Eboshi,
Eboshi?
Lady Eboshi.
Yeah, Eboshi.
Yeah, Lady Eboshi. Yeah. What would you think about her? But she does employ disability workers. She's leprosy was she's letting the people the people that are infected with leprosy, they really probably can't find work. They're all covered up, and she gives them jobs, housing. They even say that she treats them like people.
Yeah, when other people don't.
Yeah. So that was kind of cool. Like she's a villain technically.
Yeah. She's the bad, but
she's
then
the big bad.
But then they're showing like her kindness. Like a lot of the girls that are working in her forge also used to be slaves. Like she's buying them up and giving them freedom.
Yeah. So there was so much they touched on. Now I'm not saying she's the actual villain. She's not the villain. I don't think there's any villain.
There's no clear-cut villain in this.
Yeah, there's no. I mean, I don't think there's any villain, to be honest.
No, even like the deer god. You think he's like the good guy, but he's actually like the god. We said we would touch on this. He's the god of life and death. Like he chooses to either grant life or death. There's like a few scenes where like he chose to help Akatashi, but then so after the battle with the boars, the main boar god Katobi.
It's hard to say. It's Oitoku.
Let me see. Okoto. Yeah. Okoto Nushi, I guess. Yeah. He's like the elder boar leading the boar army or whatever. Yeah. He's injured and he's like trying to find the deer god to save him. Right.
Yeah, they're trying to find the deer god to save him, and they actually used him as a decoy.
Yeah, the humans
which was really cool. Like humans use him as a decoy to lead him to the deer god, and they all disguise themselves as boars.
Yeah,
and that's where they got the clear shot at the deer god.
Yeah, the deer god did finally bring him down. But the deer god, the boar's there and he sees him and like I don't know if he's like saying save me or what, but he goes and he kills the boar and then kills the wounded. Oh, it's because he starts turning into a demon. Yeah. Right. Like he's filled with hatred and begins to turn to a demon, like right in front of the deer god. And then like the wolf goes to attack him, and they're both like kind of fighting, and the deer god just shows up and kills them both.
They're not fighting. He's trying to get Princess
Mononoke
out of him because she's been absorbed by him. He's trying to get her out of his mouth or out of his body, and that's when the deer god kills them both. And then she gets taken in the water, and that's where she heals in the water. Yeah. And then now we can get in this very final scene, which to me is why I didn't like it. Not the beginning. The scene is they have the head, they're running away. Now the deer god is expanding this like evil and corrupting, just killing the forest and all the plant life, and just if it touches you, it kills you. Yeah. It's like liquid, like smoke. And it's just killing everyone else. And everyone's running away from it. And and Princess Mononoke and Ashitaka are just trying to get the deer's head from, what's his name?
The trapper. His name is Jacobo.
Trying to get from him. And this is why I did not like this scene. We get the scene, right? they meet him at the top of the mountain. He's like, "I'll give me the head. I'm gonna kill you." They start fighting. They all start fighting, squabbing, and then it comes down to it where, because all they gotta do is wait for the sunlight.
Yeah.
Once the sun rises,
it'll kill the deer god. Yeah.
They fight, and then he goes, "Just give me the deer's head," and then he goes, "All right." I mean, I'm being,
they were trapped, and he had no choice. I mean,
he could have kicked them off and waited for the sun.
Yeah.
I mean, they were fighting already. Like,
yeah.
He just opened it for him. Then he gave him the deer head. That's whenever we get that infamous like side hug action.
The side hug, yeah. They both lift up the deer head to this giant god that's destroying everything and like flooding, destroying the forest, and it comes down to like get the head, and they're both holding it, and yeah, he side hugs her.
Side hugs her,
yeah,
my man.
Yeah, right. The last thing you got to do before he's about to die.
Yeah. So, and once this happens, the deer fixes it, restores all of the plant life.
Yeah. Well, see, the forest was destroyed, right?
Yeah.
And when it came back, they restored everything. It was just like grassy hills. Like the forest didn't exist anymore. Like the forest still died.
Oh. So it's just grass?
Yeah, like it was just grass at the end. Yeah.
So the forest is dead. The Iron Fortress is dead.
Yeah, the Iron Fortress gets destroyed too. Like it.
So now it's like rebuilding.
It's like a reset, like a hard reset, I guess.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. And so this is this. I didn't like that scene, and then we get this like final scene.
I will admit, this final scene I didn't like.
All right, the final scene is she says, "I love you, Ashitaka." But I can never be with a human, or I can never.
She says she can't stand humans and hates humans.
Yeah, still, I can't stay with humans. And he goes, "I understand. You go out and live in the forest, and I'm gonna go back to the iron fortress, the iron." Iron mill.
Yeah, the Lady Boshi's like, well, now that the mill's gone or whatever, now I'm gonna make a good village or whatever.
Yeah, I'm gonna go back to the iron mill. So what the fuck? Just why not go back home?
Yeah, well, I didn't understand, like, why didn't he just go live with the love of his life? Like, that made no sense. So he's just like, yeah, you go over there.
There's two better options. He said, I'm just gonna go to the iron mill. But he could have gone and lived with her. Oh, yeah. He could have gone and lived with whatever her name is.
Kaya. Kaya.
He could have went and lived with her in the village. Like
he was actually the prince, right? I didn't even think about that. He could have come back home. He cured his curse. He could have gone back and lived, and led his people again. Returned home to hero.
So
or whatever.
He picked the weird option to go to the iron mill, where I'm sure there's food and it's nice and whatever. But like he had two way better options, so I didn't understand that, and I think the reason, and I know we got them in here, we appreciate it, guys. Write down the comments below, if we are tweet at us, whatever you want to do. I know what people are gonna say is like, oh, that was to show that one is on the forest side and the other one's for progressiveness. One's for the environmentalists, one's for progressiveness. Yeah. That's what it's about, the split.
Or they could still be together or whatever.
Yeah. No, they didn't. I see that point, but to me, I don't think that was the best move for him. I don't know why he did that. I think that was dumb. And then it ends.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, it ends, and that was the end of we're done. That was the end of the movie. So I'm not shitting on it. It was a phenomenal movie. The music was amazing. Music when anytime the music was like,
oh, the music, yeah, amazing.
The scenes that they had, like when it showed like expanding the forest or the traveling or the mill workers working, they played like the good music. It was really good. Nice, like those cool little Edo period lo-fi beats I like. Yeah, very good music. And it was great opening. Yeah,
one of the things I really liked about it was that it seemed to like encapsulate the life of like a typical like Japanese peasant. Like the villages are sprawling. There's a lot of people. There's a lot of stuff going on. Like they brought the village to life. It wasn't just like a village and him doing stuff. Like there was a lot of like people there, a lot of characters there. Like it really made like it set the tone for the feeling. Like it made you feel like you were watching like an ancient, Japanese fantasy film, which was what it was.
Yeah, I thought it was great. I still think it was great. The ending wasn't terrible. Yeah. That was the only real feedback I had, and like
to me, the ending didn't detract from the whole experience. I guess some people can the lack of like a final conclusion, how it's kind of open ended.
Yeah,
is kind of a drawback. But to me, it didn't didn't detract my enjoyment from the movie at all.
I mean, yeah, I mean, I enjoyed it, but like I said that part, and also, I mean, there was a lot of like, I love romance.
Hmm.
I wanted more.
Yeah.
I wanted more. I'm a romance. You know, all the animes I watch are romance. I mean, all of them, majority of the time, are always romantically themed. And you know, I'm watching My Tiny Senpai right now, and that's all romance. And this one was not. I wanted more from them. I mean, I wanted something. I needed something.
Yeah.
But I never got that. Also,
You got your side hug.
Yeah, the side hug wasn't it for me. The dagger scene too took away from it because there could have been something more with that. Like maybe like he was reaching for her, or like he couldn't find her and he saw the dagger was shining,
Yeah.
and then like he reached for it and found her. But like there was so much they could have done with that, and they didn't do what I wanted. And now the stab scene, like when she wasn't taken off, was good, but
Yeah.
I wanted more.
Yeah.
You got anything else?
I don't think so.
I think that was good. Yeah. That was our take on Princess Mononoke. I definitely would recommend it for everyone.
Yeah, I would definitely recommend it. Yeah.
Yeah, check it out, guys. Let us know what you think. If you like the episode, make sure you share it, like it, tell your friends about it. We really appreciate all the love and support we get on this channel. Yeah.
One thing I want to mention: would you recommend it to like children?
No.
Is it a kids movie?
Well, I mean, 13-year-olds, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
PG-13.
Those are teenagers though.
Oh well, like 8-year-olds. No.
Okay.
I don't think there's not any 12-year-olds that would like this.
Maybe.
Well, maybe 12 years. I don't think there's any like 10-year-olds or 9-year-olds that would sit through this and watch it.
Maybe you're right. I mean, I was gonna say when I was like 9, I think I watched the Predator movie for the first time and I loved it. So.
Well, yeah, because it had guns and stuff, and like it wasn't like long periods of travel.
Yeah, I guess so. I guess so. You're probably right. I don't think I don't think I'd recommend a kid watch it.
Yeah, but at the end of this though, it was good. I think I would recommend this to adults.
Yeah, I would recommend it. Yeah.
Even if you're not even an anime fan, this would be a great film. To watch. I mean, if you're not an anime fan, because it is a beautiful story.
Yeah, I like it.
Even though the ending wasn't it for me, it was a beautiful story.
It gave me a little bit of you ever seen the movie Fern Gully? It kind of gave me a little bit of those vibes. Fern Gully. That's an old ass movie.
I'm sure our listeners probably have never heard of it either.
No, well, the story's kind of the same. Like the man's destroying the forest. So.
Oh yeah, and I do think there's like a lot of stories you can pull out of this, where it's like as they destroy the forest, they lose part of it. What's the essence of it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I could see that. Yeah.
Yeah. But all right, I don't really think I have anything else to add.
Yeah. All right, guys, share this video, tell your friends about it. We will catch you guys later.
Yeah.
All right. Bye.
Later.
That was good.